Let's talk this boxing this fine, fair morning. Getting one step closer to a Terence Crawford, Shawn Porter fight. Not the type of step forward that we'd like to see, but, you know, things can't be easy when it comes to Bud and Shawn Porter, man. Very, very, very unfortunate development that the fight has to go to purse bid, or it looks like it's going to purse bid. And it seems like that's one step closer to my man Fahim Sator being right. But let me say what's up to everybody in the chat this fine, fair morning. Dwayne Jones, what's going on, man? How you feeling this morning, man? Mike Rhyme in the building. Copper Aborigine says, salute, brother Martin Blackwell for non-international boxing. Yes, sir. Copper Aborigines again said, greetings to the chat. Let's get this fire started. Yes, sir. And make sure you guys put your questions and comments in the comment section. I love to go through the comment section and read your comments, answer your questions. It really makes the chat fly by for me. And also it keeps everybody really involved. So make sure that you put Fannon at the title of it and then ask your question, and we'll make sure we get to as many questions as we possibly can get to. My man Viva 2 Vita in the building says, salute Martin in chat today. I'm ready for this boxing knowledge as always. Yeah, we're going to talk about a couple things today, man. We're going to talk about Shawn Porter and Manny Pacquiao, picking Manny Pacquiao to beat Yordenis Ugas easy. I think that might be a little bit of haterade in his department. We might get on this Rolly Romero stuff. Do y'all really take Rolly Romero seriously? Like, I need to know, is this somebody that I should take seriously, that where I'm missing something? I was talking to a young cat this morning, and he was just talking to me about how he was paying attention to Rolly Romero and Devin Haney back and forth. And I was like, man, that's a lot of talk. I just really can't get, I really can't get into Rolly Romero like that, man. I can't get into it. We might actually also get on talking about this Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Usyk fight. Let's talk about a lot of stuff in boxing today. My man Adrian Vet, what's good, champ? Salute. I'm chilling, man. Just hoping to get in a good conversation about boxing, man. Start my day right with you guys. Viva 2 Vita in the building says, salute Martin and salute chat today. I'm ready for this boxing knowledge as always. George Woods in the building. Good morning and shout out to Atlanta. My man LJNTJ said, he said, salute Martin, you were right about Riley. He's a piece of shit. Dude, Riley Romero gets on my nerves, man. Like, did you see him? It was hilarious. Did you try to see him try to smile for the camera? He was at the Rigo fight and they put the camera on and he was like he didn't know how to smile. It's like, dog, if you're going to smile, dog. He tried to hold his mouth he got caught trying to like, I don't know what he was doing with his mouth, man. But that's a funny dude, man. Riley Romero looks like a Smurf to me. But he's a Smurf that can fight, you know what I mean? It's just that I don't get the attraction. He's really not that good a fighter, right? From what I can see. I mean, he's a world-class fighter, apparently. But I mean, he lost me at the Marinez fight, you know what I mean? Kenny Peeps in the building. What's good, man? I'm chilling. I can't complain about not a thing, man. Just living life, feeling good, getting ready to talk this good, fine boxing talk this morning. Here's a question. My man Bomb Squad said, do you think AJ will make it to the date? I think he's about to pull out and they're gonna make Usyk versus Joyce. There's nothing that I've heard that make me believe that he's not gonna do that he's not gonna make it to the date. You think he's gonna come up with a COVID? You think he's gonna come up with a COVID or something? I don't think he's going to pop up with a COVID. I think that fight will probably go through. I haven't heard anything that would make me believe otherwise, but I will tell you that I'm certainly hoping that they do go through with that fight, because I think I got Usyk in that fight. I'm going to be taking several guys that I know are more than likely not going to be popular picks. I'm taking Ugas because my record last year was too pure. I was always taking the favorite. To this year is my year where I'm going to ride with the underdog. So I'm riding with Usyk over AJ. But Usyk versus Joyce, they did that fight in what's that called? The World Series of Boxing? Not the World Boxing Super Series, but the World Series of Boxing. That's that like that's that pro-am tournament that they have over. I think it's in the Europe and America, but where a lot of those guys go. And I think Usyk already beat Joyce in that. But different day, different time, man. DH in the building says, salute Fannon. Good morning, my brother. Love your show. Continue to bring facts. Keep them coming. Shout out from Toledo, Ohio, 419 in the building. Love your channel, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, man, for you guys to tell me that you love the channel and appreciate what I do every day, because it is, it can be a little bit of a grind, man. Alma in the building. It's all good when Alma's in here. He says, salute. I'm always learning something with your show. Your knowledge, love from Chicago, Illinois. Yes, sir. Oh, Bomb Squad. Ghost Bomb Squad. Fannon, he was delaying the fight as much as he could. They were forced to make the fight. That's why I think that he doesn't seem to be confident. Look, I don't know, man. Look, I think that I'm just happy to see the fight, personally. I think that is going to be one of the better fights that I've been looking forward to seeing for a while. And I certainly hope that fight goes through, because like Usyk could upset the apple cart, man. He really could. And then, we can give, and if Tyson Fury's able to win, able to cheat himself to another victory, then they'll get what they want. They'll get two white heavyweight champions, and that'll bring boxing back. That you'll have every casual. If they cared about Europeans, that won't do anything for boxing. But that would just be interesting to see. Alma said, Fannon, has there been any boxing association banned from boxing? Example, the WBO, the WBA. No. I don't know of them being banned from boxing, but I will tell you that what they've done with the WBA, with the World Boxing, with the Association of Boxing Commissions, what they've done with that threat to the WBA, that is huge. And that tells you that there really is a mechanism by which to get these sanctioning bodies under control. I guarantee you that the WBA is about to start dumping off a bunch of belts because of what that because of what the ABC said. If you're not familiar with what the ABC is, Alma, the ABC is the commission in the United States. There's something called the Muhammad Ali Act, and the Muhammad Ali Act is supposed to pretty much govern boxing. And one of the things that it did is that it established a commission called the Association of Boxing Commissions, and they oversee all of the state boxing commissions. And as a result, they said they have tremendous control over boxing in the United States. So for them to tell the WBA that they may ban them from the United States if they don't fix the problems that they have with all the belts, that puts a warning on them, puts a warning out to the WBO, puts a warning out to the WBC. And because that would pretty much ban them from the United States. And I'm telling you, as much as they want to talk about, boxing is, as much as they want to talk about boxing being an international sport, its hub is in the United States, and none of those boxing commissions are going to be able to float if they can't put on fights in the United States. Because more than likely, if the United States bans them, or if the American Boxing, the Association of Boxing Commissions, if they ban them, then the other organizations in other countries are going to reciprocate, and that could be a snowball for them. And I honestly hope that they do turn around and ban them, because that would almost be like they were enforcing the Muhammad Ali Act, something that they to date haven't been done. So I hope that answers your question. Ghost says, if Usyk beats Joshua, I hope he fights Ortiz. Ortiz bodies him in 5. Oh man, I can't see that ever. Man, Luis Ortiz they're going to age him out. And once he looks like he's nice and old, gets him around 42, then they'll give him a fight. Once he starts really looking suspect, then he'll get that one more payday. But other than that, man, those guys ain't trying to fight Luis Ortiz. It's a damn shame, dude. Absolute shame. what they're doing, man. Almost said exactly. They need to be banned. Yeah, the Association of Boxing Commission needs to do more than what they've been doing. They've been letting too many shenanigans slide. Well, I think the way that you get them is you write letters to them and you let them know. But that thing that with the Mikhail Fox, that got so many on the heels of, what was that on the heels of? The card for Jermell Charlo versus Brian Castano. With that much drama coming off the heels of that, I think that really did get the attention of the association. The Association of Boxing Commissions. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. I think that they should probably. I would think that it would be really good if they banned one of those guys, because then it would make them look right. Ghost Bomb Squad said Riley making Cuba look bad. First Cuban who can't box. Tyson Fury's stepson making. Why you call him Tyson Fury's stepson? Because he does all that shit talking? I just don't get that. I just don't get it, man. Like, I don't get it, man. But hey, I didn't know he's Cuban, so hey, maybe I should support him, Maybe, yeah. That is that is one of those examples. The Austin Trout example is a prime example of unfair treatment by commissions. Sad ABC hasn't done shit about it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the deal is with why the Association of Boxing Councils aren't more involved in it, but they do. There's other things that they don't do, like Fight Facts. Dude, Fight Facts, all the information on fighters and their official records should be readily available to the public, man. But you got to pay, like, first of all, it's you can't even get them to get in contact with you to be able to check on the records, and then from there, they charge you like $5 a minute in order to look through their database. It's like the most ridiculously hard to access and expensive database that there is, which tells me that there's more people involved in that corruption on the government side, But what do you expect? Government is corrupt. Boxing is corrupt. It's a match made in heaven. You know what I mean? It's a match. But anyway, let's get on to Terence Crawford. The main topic of the subject matter today is Terence Crawford versus Shawn Porter. And man, I am thinking that these guys may not get this fight done, man, because now it's got to go to purse bid. And I'm like, what? I don't get that. Like, if the next step is to get to purse bid, you would think both fighters would be able to work, both camps would be able to work themselves to around to be able to, to make a deal, but they weren't able to make a deal. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, the Trout lawsuit. I got to explain what the Trout lawsuit is. The Trout lawsuit is that these is against the WBO, and the WBO removing him from the rankings in favor of Liam Smith, so that Liam Smith could get a fight with Canelo. They just made the dude magically disappear from the boxing rankings, and then after the fight was over, after the fight was over between Liam Smith and the first of the Smith brothers to fight Canelo, after Liam Smith loses and Canelo's already satisfied his mandatory, all of a sudden, boom, back up to the top of the rankings, or back into the rankings, Trout goes. But I think that was the first incident not the first incident, or a prior incident probably. Yeah, that's probably the better way to say it. A prior incident of Bob Arum sticking his fingers in the pie and telling the WBO, or Golden Boy sticking their finger in the pie and saying, no, we already did that fight, because that would have been setting up a rematch between the two. And I got to do one thing real quick. I got to thank some people in the Cash App yesterday. Definitely say thank you to some people in the Cash App. To my man Zadi, much love in that super chat. Mr. Jones, shout out in that Cash App, and my man Mr. Bryant, yesterday with the 6-day slave in the Cash App yesterday. Mr. Zadai in the Cash App yesterday. Thank you very much. And Smooth Groove Boxing, I did get him in that Cash App yesterday. It was greatly, greatly appreciated. Yeah, Matt, smash that like button on your way in. Crawford versus Virgil Ortiz next. All the people in the world want to see that fight. I don't know, man. You know, Crawford, Virgil Ortiz. You know, I think more people would like to see Virgil Ortiz. I want to see Terence Crawford against the top level of the welterweight division, man. That's why I'm just so much like, can you guys please work this thing out and get this fight done? Because that is the fight that he is the linchpin in that welterweight division that really could make, you know how many great fights there are if there weren't like two sides of the street in the welterweight division. How many great fights you can make Terence Crawford, and if by the way, losses didn't matter, you know, if losses didn't matter and there wasn't the problem with the in between the one promoter trying to keep something in house versus the other fighter, you know, the other promoter trying to keep it in house. Man, there could be so many great fights. You could have Terence Crawford versus Danny Garcia. I mean, there's Shawn Porter. Terence Crawford versus Danny Garcia is a great fight. Great fight. Terence Crawford versus Yordenis Ugas is a great fight. Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence, Manny Pacquiao, Yordenis Ugas. All of those things are really, really great fights, man. They just are not getting made because Terence Crawford is sitting on the other side of the fence. And he decided that he was going to sit on the other side of the fence. And that was his decision. So and it actually seems like he almost has to get forced to fight Porter. Adrian Vince said, we want Crawford Porter. Porter been there with top dogs in the division. Let's see what Bud is made of, man. That will absolutely do that, dude. You know what, though? I've been thinking about that fight. And who do you guys got in that fight? Put a 1 in the chat if you got Crawford. Put a 2 in the chat if you've got or put Crawford in the chat, or Porter, whatever name you have, and let me know who you think is going to win that fight. Because I think that thing is a 50-50 fight, dude, which may be showing the reticence on Terence Crawford taking that fight. Even though, so you got Kenny Gonzalez says Porter. Larry Gonzalez, you got two Gonzalez. The Gonzalez brother said Porter. Man, RSA Boxing Life in that super chat, man. Much love in that super chat, man. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the support. It definitely goes a long way in the channel. Thank you very, very, very much, man. So we got a Porter. We got a Crawford. We got Dwayne said, order, that's got to be Porter. Bud, RSA Boxing Life says Porter. Vito Mirosa. But Crawford is obviously ducking Ortiz. Even though Virgil Ortiz challenged Crawford 2 times, Crawford has failed to answer. Yeah, but he's right now, he can't say that he's ducking him because Crawford is in another situation, man. Crawford's already in a purse bid right now, and for Shawn Porter. So it's already like he's in negotiation for another fight, and one that's been mandated for him to take in order to get his belt. You know, I think that one of the big problems, not problems, a miscommunication is what the word ducking means, Vito. You know, and ducking isn't, you know, anytime somebody calls you out for a fight, you need to take the fight or you're ducking. That's just, you know, that's not practical. You know, if, for example, Dillian White is always always talking about fighting Deontay Wilder, or talking about fighting, actually he only talks about fighting Deontay Wilder. He doesn't talk as much about Tyson Fury. He talks about getting Tyson Fury stripped so that he can have the belt. But, you know, if Deontay Wilder is fighting a mandatory, then or he's already got a fight that he's already in, I don't think that that's ducking, especially if you're not, you know, haven't already gotten to the point where you're well, I was about to walk into your argument because Virgil Ortiz is the number 1 contender for the WBO. So, you know, there's definitely a chance. There's definitely a chance for that to, you know, for that to be the stake. How to beat a switch hitter? Is anyone else Who is the switch hitter? Deron Ennis is a switch hitter, man. Clarence Jackson, see, that's where I am. 50-50, yeah, exactly. And my man Curtis Bridges said Crawford will definitely win a 50-50 fight, but I see Bud pulling off the win. I think you're talking about Porter will win a 50-50 fight. But you see, you got to rewrite that, actually. I'm not sure what you make, because you use that on both sides of it. What do you think about Keith Thurman coming back? I think about Keith Thurman coming back similar to the way that I think about Gary Russell Jr. That right now it is time to fight. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what is keeping Gary Russell out of the ring, right? And keeps him fighting one time a year. But you know, that's the one hit that you got on Gary Russell in his career, is that he's been inactive, and people use that as a reason not to fight him. I think Keith Thurman just needs to come back and fight somebody, you know, or if he's not going to fight somebody, just say that he's retired. But it's been 2 years. It's been 2 years since he fought Manny Pacquiao, you know, and it was 2 years. So he's had one fight in 4 years. So I don't really know if you can really consider Keith Thurman to be an active. RSA Boxing Life, my bad, said, what's good? What's up, good brother? What's up with B-Hop publicly hating on Spence? I'm starting to lose respect for him. Look, man, that is I don't know, man. You know what I think when I see, did you guys see Django Unchained? You see Django Unchained? The character that Samuel L. Jackson played in Django Unchained, he reminds me, as soon as I see boxing, as soon as I see Bernard Hopkins, that's who I think of. He's just like, he's not like, he knows he's black, but he's like the taskmaster or something. You know what I mean? Because for him to say something like that is absolutely ridiculous. And then he needs to see proof of that. You know, he's just taking a shot. I didn't get the shot at him. But, you know, he's worked for a different promotional company, and that's what he says. I got to see what this dude's name is. Give me 1 second. What is the Samuel L. Jackson in Django Unchained? What is the name of this? Steven. Yeah, he's that house slave. He's like that house slave. He's like that house slave Steven in Django Unchained. That's what I think of him, man. Like, just, I don't want to call him a coon, but I mean, I don't know how it's kind of hard not to, man. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of hard not to, man. Anyway, RSA Boxing Life. Sorry about that. Curtis Bridges said, my bad, Fannon. I was saying I agree with you about the 50-50 fight, but I think Bud can pull off the win by decisions in a very competitive fight. Yeah, I think that is, Steven, man. He reminds me of Steven. Bernard reminds you of Uncle Ruckus? Nah, because Uncle Ruckus because Bernard has like a black wife. Bernard's a black dude. He knows he's just one of them dudes that he's just off somewhere, man. Thinking he's better than people. You know what I mean? But in a lot of ways, hey man, he's the champ, man. You know, got to get that dude. Oh, jeez. I look like LeVar Ball. Fahim Sator, newsflash, Bud ain't fighting Porter. Man, that is just, I refuse to believe it, man. Kenny Gonzalez said, what did B-Hop say about Spence? I've been under a rock. Oh, he said that his eye injury was suspicious the way that it came up. He's like, how come you going to come up with it all of a sudden? And so he felt like it was suspicious and said that he thinks that he needs to see some proof, you know, he needs to see some proof. to make sure, that Errol Spence Jr. is telling the truth. I don't get that, man. Like, I will tell you what I get and what I don't get about that scenario. Like, I understand why people would think that there was something funny with it, because the announcement came just all out of the blue, and they immediately had another fight ready to go. You know what I'm saying? So it seemed like there was some coordination. Like, people can smell bullshit. You know what I'm saying? People can smell bullshit, and they can smell when you're hiding something. Similar to like Tyson Fury's entire career. I can smell bullshit all over Tyson Fury's career. You know what I mean? But people can smell bullshit. And there was something about that announcement that smelled bullshitty. What I think it was is just that they took a little while to announce it. Like, they might have known for a day or two before, and they didn't let the story break. And then, but because they wanted to get the Yordanis Ugas Manny Pacquiao fight squared away before they did that. So that's what it seems like to me. But then Bernard Hopkins ran with what all these other guys took the easy way, like it doesn't take much thinking to say, oh, Errol Spence Jr. is faking it because he thought he was going to lose the fight. He chickened out of the fight. That's what the real reason was. I mean, honestly, for Errol Spence Jr.'s career, I would hope that the guy did chicken out, instead of actually having a torn retina. But come on, man. The guy didn't say that he had COVID. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he was in a situation where he got COVID 2 days before the fight. He got a real, he got a real injury before the fight, So that's what the big to-do was about Bernard Hopkins and Spence. Let me get to some. Hey, man, make sure you guys. Okay, here you go. Sorry about that. Go say you don't get pain for a retina tear unless the retina is detached. It's easy to see how you wouldn't know unless it was pointed out. Man, and also, how kind of different ways that you can get a torn retina? Like, you could get elbowed. You could get elbowed in the eye. You could get head butted in the eye. There's all kind of different. With boxing gloves, you're not supposed to be able to get a thumb in the eye, but there's all kind of ways that you can do that, man. How about Raleigh ducking Haney talking all that shit and cannot walk his shit? Hey, look, man, the dude just be talking, man. Both of them. Raleigh, I don't understand why anybody. I'm gonna start doing Raleigh Romero videos just because I'm gonna start. Because I don't understand the attraction to this, man. Maybe it's just the wildness of the crap that he's talking. But there's this down there at 135. It seems like it's just all talk, man. Like, all talk, man. My man Kenny Gonzalez. It's not too far off to think. Since Ugas was already on the card, it was easier to replace than just cancel. Plus, it helped settle a whole belt situation with Ugas and Pacquiao. Yeah, that is what you call a silver lining that they can find, but I don't think that would necessarily justify the switch. But because this is a huge fight, man. I mean, Errol Spence Jr. and Manny Pacquiao was a huge fight, but we're gonna still get to see a really good fight, man. I'm really looking for that, man. Look at Larry Abraham Smith in the building. Said, how come lying-ass Fury says anything and the media is silent, but Errol is instantly accused of lying? Because Tyson Fury is white. Sorry, that's the only logic that I can use, that I could find in the United States. In the British media, he's from Britain and they support their fighter, just flat out. The UK media, they support UK fighters. And they support UK fighters for the most part across the board. I'm not saying that racism doesn't exist, but I get a sense that they really do support whoever their good fighters are. They support their good fighters. In the United States, it's like the media is always rooting against black fighters. And in this case, it's Errol Spence Jr. being rooted against. If you're acting right and you're doing everything, they'll be ambivalent towards you. But if you're talking too much and you stand up too much for yourself and all that stuff, then they'll be down. They can be outright hostile to you. So my honest explanation is the difference is that he's black, that Tyson Fury is white, and he's from the UK, and Errol Spence Jr. is black. Because I promise you this, if Tyson Fury did the shit Tyson Fury did and he was black, he would have been. I won't necessarily say he'd been out of boxing, but he would have got the treatment that Jarrell Big Baby Davis got for sure. Jarrell Big Baby Davis. I mean, if you haven't heard of him, you ever heard of him? You heard of him getting any shots lately? He tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs against. I guess he did it back to back, and that seems like that's almost it for Jarrell Big Baby Miller. Like he's completely gone out of the conversation. But Tyson Fury's been caught cheating more times. Caught cheating more times than Jarrell Big Baby Miller, and he ain't around. I mean, and he didn't get kicked out. Curtis Bridges said, "I feel Spence getting injured is a blessing in disguise. Better he got hurt in training camp rather than the actual fight. If Pac beats Ugas, that makes Pac-Man versus Spence a unification." Yeah, I do like I said, that's the silver lining in the whole thing, that it could be for a unification. And I think that fight will happen too. I think Manny Pacquiao's got one of those cases of staying around forever, but you don't know Curtis Bridges, you're making the assumption that Manny Pacquiao's going to get past Yordenis Ugas, and I'm not making that assumption. In this fight, I'm going with Ugas. And that's because I told you I've got Cuban lineage. So I'm biased in that regard. So I'm definitely wanting Ugas to win the fight. But every time I think about the fight, I think, man, I don't know. It looks like not a Joshua Clottey fight. Who did Manny Pacquiao have the close fight with where people thought he could have lost? Is that Joshua Clottey, or is that Joshua Clottey that was fighting Oscar De La Hoya? I need my 90s boxing aficionados to help me out in the answer to that question. Oh, Arce Boxing Life said Ugas here. Hey, and Arce, man, let me another gong, man. My bad for not reading your the question in your super chat until late. That's my bad. The real question is, who puts hands on Spence like that? Who put hands? Look, man, it could have been anything, man. You're going to be in a boxing ring and you're going to get hit. I'm sure every one of his sparring partners has hit him at some point in time, So, somebody's going to hit him every fight, man. Somebody's going to hit you. So I don't really know if that's like really that big a deal, I mean, you can get caught. It can get caused by a headbutt, by an elbow. Anything could have hit him in his eye, and his understanding is he didn't even notice it. So who knows? And in my understanding, well, somebody just explained in the chat that you don't necessarily feel pain from a torn retina, that you wouldn't really get it until it was like a painfully, like the thing came detached. So it is what it is though, and it's all water under the bridge at this point in time. We got a really good fight that I would have been looking forward to regardless. If they had just made the fight and it didn't happen to be like this. But it is fortunate that Ugas was there and was training, and the whole fight didn't have to get pulled. Cause proves this guy isn't confident without his cheats. Glad they got exposed. Who you talking about? You're talking about Tyson Fury? I think you're 100% right on that. I'm convinced that dude cheated. What a shame, man. The boxing media's got to do better, man. Okay, there you go. Love one down. Gaither said, Fannon, I think it was Oscar versus Ike Quartet. Yeah, so it was Joshua Clottey versus Manny Pacquiao. Let me see. I go to BoxRec when I need something. I'm old. Forgetting stuff. I think that was Joshua Clottey. Nah, it wasn't, man. Yes, it was. It was Joshua Clottey. Yeah, a lot of people thought that he lost to Joshua Clottey. Yeah, it was Ike Corte on the other one. It's Joshua. Hey, look, we got 200 people in the building. Let's get the likes over 200, man. If you're in the building, hit the like button, man. Big Baby last fight was November 17th in 2018 against Dinu, which he won by KO, but he's been out of the picture since failing back-to-back drugs tests. Yeah, now the back-to-back is the difference, but still, with the level of cheating that Tyson Fury used, I count it as the same thing. Especially because Tyson Fury has already tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs. You know? You a big Haney fan, he said. Haney just has too much alpha in him. He's got everybody scared, but in reality, he's beatable in my opinion. Look, here's the thing with the WBC screwed over Devin Haney. It's just flat out, Devin Haney got screwed with that franchise championship that put a title over his, and then they've got, who else has got a, Riley Romero's got a, does he got a WBA or a WBC belt? They've got so many different secondary belts that all of these guys have secondary belts. Tank has a secondary belt. According to the WBC, Devin Haney's got a secondary belt. Ryan Garcia had a secondary belt. Riley Romero had a secondary belt, all at the same weight class. So how can you say, oh, don't you want to fight for my belt, when a guy is literally holding a belt that's worth the same amount as your belt? You know what I mean? It's like, that's why I'm glad that the the Association of Boxing Commissions, it said something to the WBA about all these belts, because that is basically going around a ranking system. Part of the reason that you have the Muhammad Ali Act is you want to have an accurate and fair ranking system where people can know that they get a chance to become a champion. But if you just give everybody a belt, then you're finding a way to go around a ranking system. You know what I'm saying? Because you have people that have belts that are not even in the ranking system. I mean, at a certain point, man, they're going to have more people with belts than they got ranked. You know, it's just it's absolutely ridiculous, man. I really hope that the ABC does something about these guys, man. Curtis Bridgers said, personally, I agree fully, Fannon. I personally think Fury is bad for boxing, but unfortunately, he has a complexion for the protection, so they brush his BS under the rugs. Man, I don't like stealing people's phrase, but that's real, without a doubt, man. Yes, the WBC said differently. The WBC said that their champion is Teofimo Stevens. It's Teofimo Stevens. It's Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez. I was messing up the Cuban heavyweight for Teofimo. No, yeah, they said it was Teofimo that's got the real belt, man. Teofimo Stevenson is who I was thinking of. Yeah, they said. The WBC said different. Yep, they consider. Oh, Smooth Groove hit that Cash App, man. Thank you, much love in that Cash App for the huge support, man. Man, oh man, that's huge, man. My man Smooth Groove Boxing for that huge support in the super chat. I mean, in the Cash App. Thank you so much for your support, man. That there means a lot, man. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you. Thank you so much, man. 100%. Thank you. Pappy Casino. I've seen a couple of your chats. Sorry for missing them. Tank Davis is a three division of secondary belts. Needs 5 more and become an 8 division champ. No, correction. He's only got 2 divisions of secondary belts. He's got the real belt at 130. He's the WBA super champion at 130. He's a WBA regular champion at 140, 135, and 140. So he's only got 2 secondary belts. But I wouldn't be surprised, though. I would say fighters get taxed for those belts too. Yeah, I mean, running it up. They're running up the bill, man. But I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't move up and try to get himself another one of those. You know what I mean? Get it at 147. But that's the biggest problem and that's, I think, in problems in boxing. Hey, put in the chat real quick what you think the biggest problem is in boxing is. Is it the multiple weight divisions? Because, man, it's like the multiple belts or the number of sanctioning bodies. The whole combination of those things add to, like, it's like multiplying. You know what I mean? Like you have a certain number of boxing commissions, and then they tripled the number of boxing commissions. Then they doubled the number of weight divisions. Then they tripled the number of belts within each weight division. So now you've got guys that everybody knows ain't no champion, like Rolly Romero running around talking about he's the champion, and he's not the champion. You're a belt holder, and it's absolutely ridiculous, man. I don't agree with my man Blood Boxing on everything, but man, Blood Boxing has always been on 100% on point when talking about those belts and the division of that stuff. It's absolutely crazy at this point, man. Adrian Vent said that WBC, that franchise belt is a joke. WBC denied fighters of a chance of challenging the champ and us fans of a great fight to watch. They did it at the behest of the boxing promoters because they have to compete with the other, because they're competing with the other boxing commissions. This is why you got to get rid of some of these boxing commissions. If you got rid of 2 of those commissions, the commissions would have more power. The balance of power gets tipped, the more belts. The matter of fact, the more the belt. Every one of those things have a different effect. The multitude of belts give fighters leverage, saying that they're a champion. I assume, but then when you have the more weight, the more sanctioning bodies you have, the more leverage there is for the promoters, because the promoter can then just pick which one of the commissions that they're going to fight for. You know, it's like having an NBA, the NBA being split into 4 different leagues. You know, like you have the Eastern Conference, the Western Conference, the Northern Conference, and the Southern Conference, and they all have their own individual champion. And so that, I mean, how could the NBA ever be successful under that mode? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you broke it down like that, or every conference in the NBA, every conference in the NBA having its own championship, and no conference, having like 18 conferences. And how many teams? There used to be 26 NBA teams, right? And like, I think it's like, isn't there like 2 divisions in each conference, something like that? But you have every division being its own. If you have every division be its own own league, that's what you have in boxing, and you'll divide and you'll have a lot of conversations about who would beat who, because they never fight one another, man. Larry Ibrahim Smith said, boxing's problem is a collusion between the promoters and the media to promote certain fighters. That ain't no joke. The collusion, that's because they're paid. I mean, honestly, man, sometimes I think they're literally paid out of literally think that they're paid out of the pocket, man. Man, thank you so much, man. Michael Freeman said, love the show, brother. You have a gift. Hey, man, I appreciate it. I love boxing, and I love talking about boxing. So you guys coming in the early morning to talk to me about boxing makes my day every day. My man, FSU OKC WG3. Way too many belts. Should only be 4 belts in each weight class. No secondary belts. Also, so many fighters want to be Floyd and afraid to lose that. Oh, that is huge. or the treatment of people once they lose it by the media. See, that's a combination of the statement that happened before about the collusion between the promoters and the collusion between the promoters and the media, and fighters not wanting to lose their O. Those two things play into each other, because the fighters that don't want to lose their O don't want the media to attack them, because as soon as somebody loses, they say, oh, your career is over. If they want to get rid of you, like they want to get rid of Deontay Wilder, they say, oh, Deontay Wilder lost, so Deontay Wilder, man, 9 Mile player, what's going on, man? How you feeling? So all of a sudden they want to get, not all of a sudden, they've been wanting to get rid of Deontay Wilder. So there's a loss for Deontay Wilder, and Deontay Wilder's career is over. Meanwhile, Manny Pacquiao, something completely different with Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao can have 6 losses, get knocked face first, asleep on a mat, and all of a sudden people act like they never saw that or something. Like especially the Manny Pacquiao fans, which I don't really think are in the building too much today. But you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you account for that? How do you account for the treatment of like a Luis, or unless you Loma? That's the protect. I think in the United States, dude, that certain people get honorary white boy status, get treated with that, and Manny Pacquiao has enough backing from his Filipino fans, and they're active and avid fans. Manny Pacquiao is the best of all time. Yes, he's the best Filipino, except for Pepino Cuevas. I don't know, him or Pepino Cuevas. Hey, how about you just like say, man, that's huge. Much love in the Cash App, man. Thank you. That's big support. Thank you. Let me make sure I got to open my phone every time to do this, so it takes a second. Forgive me. Man, I can't say your name. Oh, okay. S Miller 2B, man. Much love in that Cash App, man. That is greatly appreciated. And let me do something real quick. Smooth Groove Boxing, I gave you some thumbs up on the Cash App, man. That's huge. Thank you so much for the support. But I gave you the yellow-handed one. I didn't mean to do that. Like, I know my hands are brown, but I just did it for time, man. Please forgive me for not putting the properly melanated thumbs up on your thank you. Oh, man, and another one in the Cash App, man. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much. The Wealthy Aries 396 in that building, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate you so much in that Cash App, man. That is absolutely huge. Thank you so much for supporting the grind, man. That means a lot to me, man. Thank you so much. My man Nick Menendez said before. Oh, let me go back 1 second, man. 50 Cent said, great video. Hey, man, we talking this boxing today. Oh, KJ said, Mr. Fannon, what do you think of the possibility of Dillian White replacing Tyson Fury for Wilder if it came down to that? I think that is highly likely. I think it's highly likely if that would happen. If Tyson Fury pulled out, but I have this belief that Tyson Fury is not going to pull out. But Dillian White is, how can I put? Dillian White's an idiot, man. Like, he's on the same boat to me as Riley Romero. A lot of talk, a lot of, he's associated with a big promoter. He's with Eddie Hearn, so his name is going to get in the press. Eddie Hearn is masterful at that press, man. Without a doubt, man. He's going to get people's names and all that stuff in the press, man. Michael Freeman, much love in that super chat, man. That is greatly appreciated, man. KJ said, hi, brown skin. Yeah, I put the yellow one up there. because it was they make the yellow one, they make the one for the white boy available first. You got to go down way down low to get a brown skin thumbs up. I usually go all the way down, but I was like, man, I'm doing this in the middle of the video, so let me just hit it. But trust me, I feel remorse right now. Wish that I would have done it the good old way. Hey, Dwayne Jones said, few people know that Pepino Cuevas was a welterweight champ at just 18 and 4 years of boxing, defended 10 times against killers. Yeah, man, Pepino Cuevas, see, that's why you always got to be careful when you call people the greatest, say somebody's the greatest and all of that, because you don't know if you don't know the history of boxing. I'm always referring, and I will always refer people to Scrapbook Boxing's channel that has this really great series that he does about 100 years of championship boxing. I think he's now doing like 100 years of black champions. I got to actually get caught up on his videos, but he really shows you that, there's so many fighters, dude, that you don't know before you can just say that a guy that, because you're like on the real as a boxing historian, like I'm a casual boxing historian. I'm not even qualified to tell you who I think are really the top, who's the number one fighter of all time. I can give it a good shot at who I believe the people that should be in consideration, like Sam Langford, Sugar Ray Robinson, Muhammad Ali, Joe Louis, guys like that. I think, who's are some other really good guys down there. But, but to be calling Manny Pacquiao the greatest of all time, really, it's kind of like, damn, that's pure talent right there. What you talking about with the pure talent? Michael Freeman again in that super chat. Thank you, man. Hey, make sure you guys, we're going to keep anytime you guys want me to answer a question or talk on a subject, make sure you put Fannon in the video and at the top of your comment, and then I will definitely read that, man. Adrian Vince says, Scrapbook made me appreciate Filipino fighters like Flash, Elorde, epic fight with Sandy Sadler. Yeah, man, like guys like Sandy Sadler. You know what I'm saying? Butch Cassidy in the building said, I'm from Nova Scotia. Sam Langford is my great uncle. Oh, man, hey, go on to anybody in the family. Salute to you, man. That is a great fighter right there. That if you said, like, why would you say that Manny Pacquiao is a better fighter than Sam Langford? If you don't know who Sam Langford is, yeah, Kid Chocolate, Henry Armstrong, exactly. Grandkids, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. But he said not Manny. See, it's really tough on Manny and grew up with George Dixon. Oh, okay. Look, man, it's real tough on Manny being the greatest of all time when he came on the losing end, in my opinion, to Juan Manuel Marquez. Okay, Juan Manuel Marquez did Manny Pacquiao like. It were really good fights, and I'm not saying you can't have losses to be considered the greatest, but Manny Pacquiao lost to Floyd Mayweather Jr. in his prime, because Manny Pacquiao was in his prime, and people have injuries when they're fighting. And what did he have, 50-something? Let's see, like 50. How many fights does he have? Somewhere in the, I think he's got around 70 fights. Something around like 71 fights. And there are guys that have 200 plus fights, man. That's tough on me doing that, man. Man, Sweet Pea was one of my favorite fighters, dude. Sweet Pea was an incredible fighter. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Tommy Hudson said, I like Tank as a boxer more so than Thurman, but I'll have to go with Thurman for the win. Boxer, puncher. Yeah, but if they take the fight, go with Manny Pacquiao. I mean, if Tank and them actually make the fight, go with Tank on the fight, because they're making that fight for matchmaking reasons, and they know that. Salute. Yeah, my man Kenneth Johnson says salute to my man Butch Cassidy and Sam Langford. Without a doubt, man. That's great to get the lineage of the gods in the building. That is an absolute blessing, man. Charlie Burley I've only seen a little bit of footage on Charlie Burley, but and the little bit of footage that I saw on Charlie Burley, I was like, that would be a really interesting fight between him and Floyd Mayweather. And I think people in the know have said that they think Charlie Burley would beat Floyd Mayweather Jr. Charlie Burley was one of the fighters in the Black Murderers Row. The number of guys who, by the way, names that I need to commit to memory, and I need to research them more and commit those to memories because I haven't. I like that. Sebastian Ramirez said Manny isn't the greatest, but he's one of the greatest. I think he can be considered one of the greatest of his era. And that's a lot, man. You know, like to be the best of your era, that is like Muhammad Ali was definitely the best of his era. He's the best in the 1960s and he was the best fighter in the 1970s. And that is, you know, that's all he could reasonably, you know, be accountable for, you know. Anything beyond that is you're just, you know, is a tremendous amount of speculation. Nick, Fannon, why are people thinking Tank can stop Thurman, who has never been stopped at 147 by the best? There's a list of fighters at 147 Tank can't beat. Thurman, Pack, Mann, Spence, Crawford, Porter, Bradley. I think that they're saying that because they're kind of lost up in, because they're kind of lost in the moment. You know what I mean? They're kind of amped up, and a lot of people are really casual boxing fans. And no disrespect, there's levels of boxing fans, but some people are just kind of on the Javonte Davis bandwagon because he's one of the more popular fighters. So he's he's a knockout artist. And some people don't know this difference between weight classes. You know, they don't see the difference. I've heard, I mean, you'd be really surprised how many people that I've talked to would think that Lomachenko, they need to see Lomachenko fight Errol Spence Jr. You know what I mean? And have no real concept that Lomachenko is a 135 pounder and Errol Spence Jr. is a 147 pounder. And the two of those guys probably are never going to meet. Jalen Rose said something like that when he was talking about boxing, saying, yeah, I would love to see, it was something crazy. Like, yeah, I would love to see Gary Russell Jr. fight Alexander Usyk, you know, some way out there type shit like that, where it's like, man, don't you realize these guys they're not even in a weight class? But, you know, it is what it is, man. I'll take any type of boxing fan, really, you know, as long as you're willing to talk boxing and you're not like some super disrespectful dude. I love talking boxing with you, you know. But the reason why I say that there's a certain that Tank versus Thurman is something you should watch is because there's a lot of reasons that negate Keith Thurman's advantages. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, like that's what I said. Dewad Smith said they know that Thurman is injured. He's not one time anymore. Yeah, there's a lot of like fighters. I look like Michael Jordan. I'm bald and I'm black, but I think there the resemblance comes to an end. But hey, I appreciate you, man. Tommy Hudson said it's hard to pinpoint the greatest. There are many greats. Manny is one of them. They all deserve their flowers. Absolutely, man. And I'm going to be sad when Manny Pacquiao retires, man, because Manny Pacquiao is a great fighter. Gave me great fights. Like, I love the Juan Manuel Marquez fights. He gave me a lot of interest and a lot of conversation going on. Hold on. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed something. A whole lot of conversation going on during the whole battle between the Flomos and the Pactards. All that stuff was really fun. It's like a little baby version of that was going on with the Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder. Really, people that just know that Tyson Fury cheated, and the boxing media who are just trying to act like they're dumb. Yeah, but there's a lot of, as far as the Keith Thurman thing, there's a lot of stuff that comes into play with fights that get made. And you got to judge the fighter for where he is right now and not where he was in the past. Right now, Keith Thurman has only fought one time in the last 4 years. And I don't even know the last time Keith Thurman when's the last time Keith Thurman even had a knockout? Let me see. Because before that, Keith Thurman had started going, it might have been, hold on one second. Oh, snap. Did I do something stupid? Nope, I didn't do something stupid. All right, thought I might have shut the chat off for a second. Hold on one second. That's ridiculous. I don't know why that's doing that. But anyway, can't get it. I think his last knockout might have been like Robert the Ghost Guerrero or somebody like that. You know? I mean, it's been a very, very long time since he's gotten a knockout, man. Since Luis Collazo, something like that. So it's been a long time since he's actually had that, man. You know what I mean? So I don't think you can really compare. I don't think you should really compare Keith Thurman now to Keith Thurman 4 years ago. Kind of like everybody keeps talking about Floyd Mayweather Jr. and whether or not Floyd Mayweather Jr. can come back and fight Manny Pacquiao, and if he beats Errol Spence Jr., what does that mean? And my thing is, I don't think that it really means too much, because Floyd Mayweather Jr. already beat Manny Pacquiao, and Keith Thurman didn't beat Floyd Mayweather Jr. Even if that circle stuff worked, none of these guys have beat, man. None of these guys have beaten Floyd Mayweather Jr. So Floyd is going to stay where he is. He's the best of his generation. And I think that it's unfair for the media to try to take that away from him, man. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, Beatbox? I like that cash money. Thank you, sir. I'll take the cash money. Let me see something though. That's greatly appreciated. KJ, but Gary always calling out Tank. In his mind, he got a chance, I guess. They do say styles make fights. You never know. Oh, I think that's a really good fight. I think Javonte Davis versus Gary Russell Jr. I'm gonna do a video on that today. I think that's one of the best fights that they can make, man. Definitely one of the best fights they can make, man. Very underestimated fight, man. Gary Russell Jr. can never be accused of being a poor fighter. He's got one loss to Vasyl Lomachenko, and that's it. He said, my man Robert Jaramillo said, great response, Martin. Perfect example. Thurman one loss. Now he's irrelevant. Yeah, it's just, that's how they do you. It's like, oh, he's irrelevant. So you don't have to worry about your guy fighting him. That's the problem. My man Jeffrey Brooks in that super chat. Much love in that super chat. He said, I like Thurman because he pick his battles wisely. You find him fighting someone like Jaron Ennis. Yeah, he is picking it, Oh, man. Dude, that's easier said than done, man. Yeah, dude, he's not going to fight Jaron Ennis. He's got enough sense to know that young man is coming for him. And that's just different levels and different times in his career. And Jaron Ennis is such a big fighter. And he's, I think Keith Thurman is just really looking for the big time fights at this point in time in his career. He would wash Gary Russell. What evidence do you have for that, man? Black Rain. I don't see any why would he wash him? Because he beat who did he beat and how did he beat somebody that with the style of a Gary Russell Jr.? They would say that he would wash Gary Russell. Lomachenko didn't wash him. It was a good fight between him and Lomachenko. And that was right before Lomachenko went into his whole Nomaschenko. That was a prime Vasyl Lomachenko. And he got he lost by majority decision. But man, and he said he had to lose five pounds the day of the fight. I think he's a lot better fighter than you guys are giving him credit for, man. Ray B, I think because he's put against everybody without saying a word. I'm not sure what that is. Nick Menendez says, Fannon, Thurman hasn't had a KO because he started facing the best in the division, something Tank hasn't done. at a deadly weight class with great fighters. Floyd has tanked, jumping around, beating cherries. Hey, there's definitely an argument that he could say that he's running around beating cherries because there's been a good amount of Hugo Chavez. Hold on one second. Why does that keep doing that? I do not get why that thing keeps doing that. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, that'd be hard for me to go back. I don't think Leo Santa Cruz was a cherry pick. I think Leo Santa Cruz is a good fight. But Mario Barrios, I don't know if he was really a cherry pick or not, but, you know, there could be better fighters, man. Butch Cassidy said, I like how you keep it real on Manny's 7 division champions, not 8. They really pushing that he's an 8 division champion. You know, they just say it because they don't feel like having the argument. But there's been a lot of different stuff that was going on, like the lineal championship and the heavyweight division and how that gets passed. I'm telling you, the boxing media will just make some shit up, and people will not know any better, and they'll just keep repeating what they get in the what they get from the media. What's going on, John Pistano? Good day to you, man. FSU OKC said, what's your thought on Conor Ben? I think Boots and Virgil drop Ben. You'll have to, well, let me put it this way. I think that he's a good fighter, but he's going to have to prove to me that he's on the level of Jaron Ennis or Virgil Ortiz, because he just comes from somewhere where typically those guys in that weight class, they don't pan out. You know, because he's around the welterweight division, and the U.S. is very strong in welterweights, and Mexico is very strong in welterweights. I know that Virgil Ortiz is Mexican, but he's not from Mexico. I was just trying to say that there's a lot of strong Mexicans in 147, and maybe just call it a geographical bias, but I'll believe it when I see him come to the United States, fight somebody like a Sergey Lipinets and beat somebody like a Sergey Lipinets, or beat somebody like an Igis Kalvanakis, like Jaron Ennis did, and like Virgil Ortiz did before I'm all the way good with that, you know. Butch Cass said, if I was in Shy, bro, I'd be waiting for you at the coffee shop or coffee house just to talk boxing, bro. Hey, man, that's good. This is what it is. You don't got to do. I appreciate that, man. We can talk. I love talking boxing, man. Only thing I get sometimes is people get like, a little caught up in their opinion, but it is what it is. I'm not going to fight over anybody over their boxing opinion. Tommy Hudson in the buildings said, Floyd is smart in his investments. He's not going to feed Tank to the wolves. He's following the blueprint, fight Spanish fighters. What elite black fighter has he fought? None. Which is why I'm saying do not lunch on Gary Russell Jr. about that, man. Robert Jaramillo said, good morning, Martin. One loss equals Thurman equals irrelevant, outrageous. They'll throw you under the bus. They'll throw you under that bus quick, won't they? Toss you right up underneath that bus. But it is what it is. Things got to be the way they got to be. They are the way they are. Beatbox said random, but I see Ennis with 2 mega fights setting up a future Antoine Russell versus Gary. Oh, man, that is a hell of a fight, man. No doubt. I hope that. Honestly, man, I can't wait for the next generation of the big fighters to come and really start fighting each other. You can say that we're there in the 135-pound division, but they don't have any intention on fighting each other. And that's the problem there. They don't seem like they have the intention on fighting one another. But you have Riley Romero, who's got to be, he's like, I'm going to steal somebody else's. Oh, hold on one second. Jeffrey Brook, I thought I had already read that. Much love in that super chat to Jeffrey Brook. said, I don't think it's a smart move for Errol to fight the winner next. Should his loss or get his eye injury, then he can use that excuse. Should his losses or get his eye injury, then he can use that. Oh, you're talking about, if he loses, then he'll use the excuse of his eye being injured. I don't know, man, because if he wanted to use an excuse, he could have that car accident, man. Errol's been having some serious trauma to his body as of late, man. You know what I mean? But much love and support. Thank you for that support, Jeffrey Brooks. It means a lot, man. Thank you very much. Mario said, Fannon, why was the WBC willing to strip Spence, but not willing to strip Fury? I never heard that the WBC was willing to strip Spence. I never heard anything about them stripping Spence. Who did they strip? I haven't heard the WBC strip anybody in a while. I know the WBA was strip Guillermo Rigondeaux. They strip him every other fight. Every time Guillermo Rigondeaux gets a belt from the WBCA, he winds up getting stripped. But I'm not sure what you're talking about. I didn't know the WBC. I didn't hear of him stripping him. Oh, they did not say that. That's not true. Yeah. I didn't hear the WBC. The WBC isn't big. I haven't noticed that the WBC is big on stripping fights. Actually, I've seen the only beef that I got with the WBC. I got 2 beefs with the WBC, and really those were happened a couple years ago. My beef with the WBC was those franchise championships. Oh my God, and that Bridgerweight, the franchise championship and the Bridgerweight. And changing that Combuterol level for Canelo. Those are the 3 problems that I have with the WBC. But if you could fix that problem with the WBC, I don't necessarily think that they're bad people. I think that they're probably the second best of the boxing commissions, the WBC, behind the IBF. The IBF really does enforce its rules. They're very on enforcing their rules. And the WBC, I think, really tries to bend over backwards to try to make fights. I've seen a bunch of fights be ordered by the WBC that the potential contestants don't follow through with, but they've been very good with that. You know what I mean? So that's my take on it, man. But I've not heard that the WBC was going to strip Spence for not. I mean, he had an eye injury. They came out and they said that that his paperwork worked out. I mean, if they were going to strip anybody, they should look into those glove situations for Tyson Fury, and they didn't do that. The WBC seems to be a little more pro boxer, where the WBO and the WBA is 100% pure promoter. But they're all after that dough, with the exception of the IBF, which I think is all around the most fair and even-handed of the sanctioning bodies. Because there's no way I think any of the other sanctioned bodies would have stripped Canelo Alvarez. Nick Menendez, if Fannon, simply put, let's agree that Thurman is 75% of himself. Let's say right now this version of him still destroys Tank's whole record, but Tank can't beat for sure Thurman's last 5 fights. Yeah, no, because Keith Thurman fought Keith Thurman's had some good fights. However, the problem is, what's going on, Isaiah Lucky? I'm chilling. Shout out to Charlotte, North Carolina. Let me get a gong for Charlotte, North Carolina in the building. Michael Kirkland in the building. What's going on, man? You guys love boxing, being up here with me all early in the morning like this. Oh, guess for me. Do you think Thurman's hurting himself by not having any fights for 2 years and jumping in the fire? Remember his first fight back in 2019? Yeah, but I mean, who is he going to fight, man? It's tough. And he's sitting on that Pacquiao money. So, he'll do what he's going to do, man. Keith Thurman, I think, is on the outside looking in, because the problem with Keith Thurman is don't nobody want to fight him, because Keith Thurman will screw around and beat you. You know what I mean? Keith Thurman is dangerous enough where Keith Thurman will beat you, Mario Spence. That's not for me. You guys are in the conversation. I like you guys have your boxing conversations going in. Hey man, let me get a question, man, so we can keep the conversation flowing. Here you go. My bad. Fannon. Boots, in my opinion, can't be defeated by anybody right now, but Gary Antoine Russell and Boots in the amateurs is 3-1. Well, they say the amateurs isn't the pros, but at the same time, if you guys got your number, the guy could have your number. What's his name? That's like the Vernon Forrest situation with Shane Mosley, where Shane Mosley, where Virgil Forrest, the Viper, just had Shane Mosley's number, man. Had it in the amateurs, had it in the pros. And I think Shane Mosley was a better pro than Virgil, God, I forgot his name already, man. Than the Viper. Than Vernon Forrest. Fannon, coming to Chicago this weekend, this weekend. What's the good food spots? Much love in the super chat. Anywhere. North side, anywhere in Chicago, you're gonna get good food, man. But try down by Rush. They got a lot of restaurants in the Gold Coast towards the north side. If you want to keep it nice and safe, man. Fannon, why are you so delusionally optimistic about Bud fighting Porter? I am completely hopeful. I'm hopeful. It's not delusionally optimistic. They have a purse bid. It would have to be Shawn Porter to pull out of the purse bid. It's the ramifications of the fight, of it not going, that throws me out. Did my super chat, Robert? Yes, it did come through, and I got it too. Real quick, Robert Jarmil, yes, I did that super, but give me to do it again. He said, good morning. One loss equals Thurman, equals irrelevant, equals outrageous. I love the math formula on that. And absolutely, dude, that is outrageous, but that's how they do. You know, one loss, and that's an excuse not to take the fight, not to take a fight with them. But that's the problem. It's like you just trash can a whole fighter because he lost one. But that's not the case with Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua got his comeback. But that's the reason why I'm glad they enforced that rematch clause for Deontay Wilder. And you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I definitely got that. And thank you so much for your support. Sorry that I read that too quickly. Yep. So you see that I got that. Do you think Tank will fight Shakur? No. That said, Floyd Mayweather, man, look, dude, those promoters have a lot to do with the type of fights that are made. And Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Leonard Ellerbe want to make big fights for Tank. They don't want to make fights that they think are going to be great fights to see who the best is. You know, that's where I am. That's what I think. Jeffrey Brooks, much love in that super chat, man. Bud is about to show everyone how much of a punch he's packing when he stops Porter for all those Bud haters. Hey, man. Hey, Jeffrey, aren't you also a Manny Pacquiao fan? I appreciate the support, man. You think he's going to knock out Porter? I can't see that. I can see the win. Honestly, I can see the win coming from either one. I can see the winner coming from either one of them, but I can't see a knockout coming on either side of that. I mean, Jose Benavidez almost went the distance with him, almost, and a dime won't buy you a box of cigars, but you know what it is. Much love in that super chat, man. Thank you so much for your support, Jeffrey. Copper Aborigine said, Devin, his own promoter. Those other fights aren't done. Get it yet? Those fights aren't done. Get it yet? I'm not sure what that means. Except for, he might need a promoter to get those fights done. You know what I mean? He might need a promoter. The only purse bid you've ever heard of this is this fight between Porter and Crawford. No, man. No, man. You know who said stop it. No. You're talking about Fahim Satur. Fahim just don't think that Bud Crawford wants no smoke. And the fact that it has to go to purse bid pretty much already kind of proves this point. Because if Bud, first of all, Bud forced it, it had to be a mandatory to begin with. And then it went from a mandatory to a purse bid. So I could definitely understand why Fahim Satur would say that he doesn't think that fight's getting made. I just don't see an escape route. That's my thing. I'm like, just where's the escape route for him? There's nowhere for him to go. You know what I'm saying? There's literally no way for Bud Crawford to get out of the fight other than saying that he wants to be stripped of the belt. And if he loses that belt, he might as well consider himself done. Who's going to fight Bud Crawford if he gives up a belt? He's not a champion. If he gets stripped for not fighting the mandatory. You know what I'm saying? So the other option is that Shawn Porter just pulls out of it and they can't come up to any type of financial arrangement. However, when that purse bid hits the table, and Terence Crawford has to take whatever that is. You know what I'm saying? But Shawn Porter can get out of it, but I don't think Shawn Porter's gonna leave the fight. That's the out. That's the out there. If they don't come up with a big enough offer in the purse bid for Shawn Porter to be happy, then Shawn Porter could walk away. But maybe that they were trying to prevent that fight from him getting his 40% for the fight. But we'll see. I hope Triller picks it up so we can make sure we get a big money fight. And then nobody gets sick before the fight happens. You know what I mean? Miguel Herrera said, well, that's not for me. Is Terence ready for Virgil? I think he's ready. The question is Virgil ready for Terence? But I'm going to tell you, that's a real welterweight there. That dude is big. That dude is strong. I think very highly of Virgil Ortiz, man. FSU OKC WGN. Shakur Stevenson said he wanted to be undisputed at 130. Do you believe Tank would vacate his belt instead of fighting Shakur? I think he's going to vacate the belt. I don't see him going back down to 130. But you never know. But I don't see him going back down to 130. I think it's a wrap for him at 130. Personally. But I got Bud on my mind when I'm reading my man Fahim. Fannon, do the math. How much would a purse bid have to be to bid Bud to make his guarantee? That fight is not happening. It would have to be. I don't think the guarantee comes into play with a purse bid. I don't think because that's not party to the promotional agreement. You can lose. He's out of that fight for one promotional agreement. I don't think that even comes into play. I don't think that comes into play in that situation, because over here you have Top Rank and Terence Crawford's agreement. But once Terence Crawford gets ordered to fight and there's a purse bid and Top Rank's not promoting it, then that agreement is with kind of like Triller. If he goes to Triller, it's a one fight deal. And then I don't know what it would say as far as how much it would cost Top Rank to pay him. But, that's what I think about that. I got you, Fahim. Two different contractual relationships. Ha, Fahim. Gotcha. Terence Crawford hasn't fought an A-list fighter yet. True. He's already 30 plus. True. He's an A-list. Nah, he's not. He's doing something right though, being considered pound for pound without fighting anybody. He fought everybody he could fight. Hold on. Yeah, Vasily Lomachenko beat an A-lister. Udanis Ugas, what's his name? Usyk. has never fought an A-lister, and he's on there. Anthony Joshua, I guess he did. Some people put him on there. It's just, it's a popularity contest. You heard Fannon. He believes Ortiz means business. Oh, he does mean business, man. And my man, Robert Lim III said, Fannon, much love from the Philippines. Not all Filipinos hate you. I do support your channel, though. My mom also is a black Nigerian. Oh, that's what's up, man. Shout out to the black Nigerians in the Philippines. Interesting combination, man, that you don't always think of. No, and by the way, most of the Filipinos don't hate me. They don't think anything about me. They just jump out there and they're going to attack anybody that's got anything to say. I don't even take it personally with those guys. They got the right to love their fighters, Fannon, do you really think Bud is going to take a pay cut to fight Porter? If that purse bid isn't at least 10 million, that fight isn't happening. Is he going to get stripped over it? That's a difficult scenario if he's going to get stripped. But in order to get the guarantee, in order to get what Shawn Porter wants, though, you're probably right about that, though. But look, man, much love to everybody that supported the channel. Thank you guys for coming and chopping it up with boxing with me today. I really appreciate it. Make sure right now that you go. I think 78 is coming on after I do. Thank you so much for everybody in the chat, everybody in the super chat. And with that, I'm out. Peace.